Now, all this week, Nick Schifrin is reporting from the Syrian-Turkey border on ISIL's impact, how it recruits, how it smuggles foreign fighters, and the fear people are living with every day. Nick Schifrin joins us now from Istanbul. And Nick, you had a remarkable conversation with an ISIL fighter who left the group and is now a refugee in Turkey, right?
Yeah, John, good evening. We rarely get a look inside of ISIL, how the group is organized, why its fighters might join, and why some of those fighters might become disaffected. And tonight, how the group's religious message and its military might attract so many people, and two men who got out.
30 miles from the Syrian border, each time Abu Mazen walks into this Turkish mosque, he steps into his sanctuary and closes the door on his troubled past. Abu Mazen is the mosque's night guard. His boss is the man he calls his savior. If not for Sheikh Abu Hafs, Abu Mazen would have been a suicide bomber in the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant.
I thought they had the highest understanding of religion that was based on the Quran.
Just 8 months ago, Abu Mazen became one of nearly 30,000 young men in an ISIL training camp like this one. The ISIL video may be propaganda, but Abu Mazen says it's accurate. He learned how to fire an assault rifle, how to fight as part of a group, how to fight hand to hand.
When you joined, what did you think they offered you?
I didn't join them because I thought they were going to offer me anything or because I wanted something from them. I joined them because they provided the best religious path.
Abu Mazen says ISIL made him feel like a holy soldier. It was organized like a traditional military. He was in a company led by an officer he called Emir or Prince, just like the man in this ISIL video giving fighters a pep talk. The day he realized he needed to leave ISIL was the day he killed a man.
I wouldn't want to kill a chick, let alone a human being. I was forced to kill. What could I do? I regret it. I regret it. I was brainwashed.
Across town, Abu Hamza told me he joined ISIL for religious reasons and military might. He was an officer in the moderate Free Syrian Army. ISIL offered more weapons, higher salaries, even bonuses for successful missions.
As an FSA fighter, I would come to a base and there would be no food or money. ISIL provided all these things as well as protection.
But he slowly realized his commanders were former lieutenants in Saddam Hussein's Iraqi army. He says they lied and claimed FSA fighters were actually Israelis. He found his commanders corrupt and brutal. Today, he's still scared of them. That's why he won't show his face.
We saw that the ISIL command were criminals. Criminals who only take advantage of the minds of Muslim men for implementing their own goals.
Abu Mazen was less angry and more scared. Sheikh Abu Hafs urged him to flee by offering him a job and a different kind of religious inspiration. The sheikh used to fight with guns. He was a moderate Syrian rebel commander. But today, he fights with ideas. He travels to Syrian refugee camps to debate ISIL missionaries, to argue their version of Islam is brutal and distorted. He argued the same to Abu Mazen.
What is better, to wait on the battlefield to kill a woman, or to help create an intellectual, a man who can bring to life a whole nation with his thinking?
Abu Mazen is the sheikh's greatest creation. Today, he totally rejects ISIL, but he still knows the group is incredibly strong, so he's applying for asylum in Europe. The only way he'll feel safe is as far from Syria as possible.
So much has been made of ISIL's external propaganda, but these defectors told me that the propaganda extends internally as well. Not only, as we just reported, did one defector say that anybody who objected to fighting against a moderate Free Syrian Army member was told that that moderate was actually Israeli, but when Tim Foley and Steven Sotloff were beheaded, the group told the world that they were beheaded because they were American. It was blood for blood, the group said. But internally, John, every lower-level fighter was told that those two men were beheaded because they were spies. It's just an example of how tightly the information is controlled by the top of the group and only seeps down to the bottom exactly how the top of the group wants it to be.
Remarkable story. So Nick, I know tomorrow you'll be talking to refugees who are still coming across the border into Turkey. Talk about the humanitarian situation.
Yeah, John, I think it's really important that we talk about, despite all of our focus on the strategy against ISIL, ISIL's brutality, ISIL's reach, this is still a humanitarian story. It's still a humanitarian crisis, the largest refugee crisis since World War II. 9 million Syrians not living in the homes that they were living in 3 years ago. That's a third of the country. Thousands of them arriving every day into Turkey. And John, I have to say, they simply do not have the food, the water, the shelter that they need.
Nick Schifrin reporting from Istanbul. Nick, thank you.